Okay, hey everybody, this is going to be a little short video on hydrogen peroxide. This is our big barrel of hydrogen peroxide that we get sent to us. This is next door, in the storage room next door. Now, a couple things about when you're refilling H2O2. So eventually, we're going to, not eventually, but we do have these guys at the, in the side room. Okay, so these two here, these guys are for inside the center to use. We can fill them both up, but before we fill them up, we have to fill up these guys, okay, which are our larger white containers. And what we're going to do is basically fill this one up, and then we'll transfer from this one into the smaller ones, okay? Because it's a little bit, you can do it this way, go from here to here if you want, but it can overfill a little easier than if you go into these. So what you want to do, one thing too to keep in mind is that sometimes just give it a bit of a pull, and to see if how much hydrogen peroxide there is. To me, this feels like maybe we're about somewhere halfway. But if it obviously feels really light, then please notify somebody about that, because that means we need to get some more. But I think we're okay for a couple months at least. So put the hose into the white container, and simply take this little crank, and it's just like like you're pumping water from a well. It takes a little bit of time to get going. But if everything is connected properly, see, this thing is connected to a black pipe that goes right to the bottom of the barrel. So it should always be able to pump out hydrogen peroxide, but it will take a bit of time. Now I can feel some resistance, and now you can see that it's coming into the white. Now, depending on how full this thing is, if it's really full and we just got it, then you can actually stop pumping and the flow will actually continue. But because we don't have enough, there's not enough water or hydrogen peroxide, it's not going to do that. So that's the one thing to keep in mind, be careful of if it's a brand new barrel, is that if you push this down, it will continue going, and that can sometimes be a bit tricky to stop. And that's, you know, we'll have to have some, maybe having a valve in here would be good, just to prevent that from happening. But anyway, so just keep pumping, filling this thing up. Now I'm not going to fill this up all the way, because you don't want it to be too heavy to pour into these things. But like, yeah, I'll go about halfway here. Well, actually, I'll fill that up later. We'll do that later. So that's the idea with pumping the H2O2 into these guys. So then once that's all done, okay, it's done dribbling, shake it up. Always good to shake it up before you get going anywhere else. So there you go. So it's all not dripping anymore. And now you're going to take one of your containers. I'll put it down here. And again, I'm wearing gloves. That's important. And don't get this, try not to get it in your eyes or anything. It's also a good thing. But then what you do, you take the little red funnel. Now this guy doesn't sit great, but it's not the greatest funnel for this, but it will work if you're careful. I don't think we have another one, but anyway. So now take it and just carefully pour it into the funnel. Try to get it right in the middle of the hole. Okay, it's pretty good. Okay, now, again, just be careful because this stuff does burn, like most of you have probably found out. Now, here's another little tip. So this guy, when you're just done with this, you're going to find that if you pull this out and turn it upside down, there is occasionally, most of the time, there's going to be liquid still in the barrel here. So you have to be careful with that. So if you take this out, you just finished it, you just squirted a bunch into the tanks and you empty it, you want to come refill it, you take it out and you tilt it, it's going to all pour out this way. So just be careful of that. This one hasn't been out, has been empty long enough that that's not going to happen. So that's about all there is to it. I'll fill this one up too, but again, the main thing to keep in mind is safety. Wear your gloves, be careful not to get in your eyes or on your skin. And the other thing to keep in mind is that when you're doing the refill, just see how much is left in the big blue barrel, okay? Because that's something that we need to know about if there is if we're low on hydrogen peroxide, okay? And when you're all done filling everything up, okay, when you're done, look at that, that's almost perfect. Okay, so when you're all done filling it up, just put the white barrel back and put the blue hose back in it. Gloves go back on top, and that's it, okay? Be safe.